I love that song. It's so full of energy. I love it. And here we are in May, this May 24th service, and we are in the month of power, our purple power.
Yes.
And that is a testament to what we use in our talk title today, Loving Service. For this Memorial Day weekend, we wanted to focus on service because all of us have the potential and possibility, and we do serve in so many ways. And as we know, those in the armed services who've given their lives to service to this country have given that service with their love and their passion. So here we are in this wonderful celebration service, and I'd like to know if you have anything you want to add to that, Maggie.
I do. I think, I heard a statistic on the radio, and that only about 23% of Americans know what Memorial Day is intended for, and less know what the flag protocol is for Memorial Day. So I'm going to tell you. So it is that we take our flag to the top of the pole at the start of the day. And at noon, we raise it down just slow to half mast to honor those who have gone before us and to protect our freedom. And then we take that flag right back up and show our pride. And I think that it's just very perfect for us to be talking about loving service this Sunday right before Memorial Day, where we honor our veterans, honor those that are in active service, and how greatly I appreciate their demonstration, their selflessness, and makes me proud to be an American, a patriot, and just a human being. When I think I've got too much going on, I think about those families that are serving me in my freedom, in my life, to do what I'm called to do. So I think that's just beautiful.
It is beautiful. And I'd like to bring in the wisdom of Marion R. Brown. He was a Unity minister. And here, nothing will help to put our lives back together. No matter what has broken them up, like forgetting ourselves and rendering service to others. It's so powerful when we're in chaos, when we're challenged by any situation in our lives, when we can forget that we're challenged, when we can let go of the constraint that we've often created for ourselves. Sure, we can be constrained by other people, but this is most effective for us is when we can apply our God-given gift to extend. Now, I want to bring this point. This is Unity's teaching is there's no place where God is not. And if that's true, if God is always present and there's no... See, when we separate ourselves, we're creating a false definition. Like, where's God? God's everywhere. But if we think somehow God's just over there, or God's just in my liver, or just... God's everywhere present. And God is our source. So everything we do is extending God in the universe, God in our community, God in our lives, God in our family. Mm-hmm. And we know this in Unity because we're unity. We're one with all that is. And we're human as well. And sometimes we get caught up in some fear, some doubt, some lack, and it's ours to give God. It's ours to open up our heart and extend ourselves. And that's loving service.
It is loving service. And it is unity teaching. It's also a very foundational practice in 12-step recovery. It is to know that we've all got our own stuff going on, right? We've got chaos or worries or relationship issues or addictions going on. And when we aren't so focused on what is happening right in front of my face, then I can open myself up. I can be of service and open that two-way street of giving and receiving of and to God, because we are all an expression of God. And if you've been listening or coming to Unity of New Braunfels, you've probably heard in my prayers multiple times that I want to see the face of God everywhere I go. I want to hear the voice of God everywhere I go. And that reminds me that I am also a face and a voice of God. When I can do that, it brings the responsibility way down, puts me right back, feet on the earth, brings me down to earth. In that I might have a whole lot of stuff going on. In fact, I do have a whole lot of stuff going on. That's probably a sub-definition of being a human, is we've got a lot going on. But if it's true for me, then it's true for you, and it's true for you. And it's of my calling, of all of our callings, to be aware of our participation on that giving and receiving of service as being a representative of God. And when we step outside of ourselves and we help each other freely and open-heartedly, then we are serving God. And when we do that, we are open. We are open for clarity. We're open for ideas. We're open for signs and signals that cue us onto what is our next thing to do. Therefore, we are receiving simultaneously that service. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And Marion Brown goes on to say that when we feel lack, we must take inventory and see what we have to give and to share. And it may not be money. It may be some kindness, some service. We can always give love and helpful words. Exactly what I was just saying is, I think when we see a national crisis, or we see somebody that has had a house fire, or falls in an illness, or is just experiencing some really tough times, we might immediately think, gosh, I would love to write a check and help that organization or help with that flood relief, but I just don't have that in my budget right now. That's not the only thing that we can do. Sometimes the best service that I receive is simply being seen. When I'm standing in line at the grocery store with my mask on, so I'm like this, and we all seem to be relatively invisible behind our masks, is still someone making eye contact and saying, "Hi, how are you? Those are great peaches. I just had those peaches," or holding the door open for you. Really, taking that inventory is to recognize what we have available to give of ourselves, not to give from an empty cup. But I almost, no matter how tired I am or what my finances in the bank account might look like, I always have a smile to give. I can always pick my eyes up from just the next step right in front of me and make eye contact with you and let you know that you've been seen and that I appreciate your partnership on this journey, on this thing we call life.
Yeah. And it's also true with this, Maggie, that we have this, in that opportunity to serve, it's always from the now.
Mm-hmm.
And these are each of us have the hands of God, the feet of God, the heart of God, God everywhere present. And when we give from this place, we opt in an opportunity to be of service, whether it's a smile, whether it's allowing someone to cut in on 306 because they need to get home as well, or being gracious in heart, allowing ourselves to feel healthy and whole where we feel content and calm, and offering that energy with the people we live with our neighbors, with our pets, with the people in line at Costco. We can always be a countenance of wholeness and peace and love. And it always starts right here. And we turn to this scripture. I love this. It's Galatians chapter 5, verse 13, 14. Through love, to be servants one to another. For the whole law is fulfilled in one word. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Loving service comes down to this. It comes down to the simple truth that you and I are one. That we embody this spiritual beingness together. And together we can do more than we can do singularly. When we love each other, not from that in-love space, but from that unconditional love space where you're just as important as I am. And from that loving space, what can we do? What change can we make? We are at a crossroad. This COVID global pandemic is continuing to teach us, to challenge us, to bring us to the, whoa, what am I going to do now? And what we continue to find out is that what we can do together, either through a Zoom meeting or from a FaceTime call or from a prayer stance, is we can do more together. And that all starts from loving God with all our heart and soul and loving our neighbor as ourselves.
I think that is, there's some really key words in this passage from Galatians. Through love, be servants to one another, and to love your neighbor as yourself. I mean, gosh, it's a theme that keeps coming up, to love ourselves, forgive ourselves, self-care, take care of ourselves. And why might that be? It's a theme in my corporate job right now for a Fortune 40 company. The theme this month is self-care. And that is our preparedness to be able to receive service. And so that we are able to pour back into ourselves, to heal ourselves, to rest our mind, body, and soul. Because when we are feeling whole, we're always whole, but when we're feeling whole, when we're feeling complete, when we're feeling fed and rested, we are giving through love service to another. So I have a story. We didn't talk about this. Is it okay if I share?
Of course.
Okay. So I was thinking about service and how this two-way street is facilitating love and healing. And I've told y'all that I played roller derby way back when. What I didn't tell you is that I couldn't skate worth a lick when I came in that door. Not at all. I was willing to be knocked down, but I couldn't even stand on my own 2 feet. And I didn't tell you why I came into the doors at Haygood Skating Rink in Virginia Beach at 9 o'clock at night the very first time. And it was because my life changed so fast that I didn't even recognize my surroundings. I all of a sudden had 3 little kids and had moved into a new place and had a new job, and I was just 28 years old. It just felt disorienting. And the power that comes in joining a team, any team, I'm sure, but my experience was with females, women holding up and empowering other women. We all got drawn to roller derby because the song goes, roller derby saved my soul. And I came in broken, unsteady, unsure of who I was, but knew that this wasn't doing it anymore and I needed to be put back together. So I got busy learning how to stand on my own 2 feet, literally, and I allowed for 15 other women to, it's gonna make me cry, cheer me on and hold me up and tell me that I could do it. They weren't giving me money. They were giving me of myself. And when I could do it, then it was my turn to be the coach and see the next lost, broken, uncertain person come in and immediately give that level of service to her. You can do it. Get back up. We've got you. And it's just, that's how service works for me in my life. And that visual and that experience is how I identify in where I am in my station of life and where I can give and when I need to just receive. And Pearl S. Buck, who was the first female, I guess girl power, female Nobel Prize winner, right? American Nobel Prize winner. She says, to serve is beautiful, but only if it is done with joy and a whole heart. I think I just said it. You know, when we are feeling good and we are taking care of ourselves, then we can't help but give freely and of love and of genuine God service to one another. The opposite is when I'm tired and cranky and my kids need one more thing, then it's begrudging service. And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to give from a dry, dusty bottom cup, and it doesn't feel good to them. And I always want to be in that place where I have enough to give so that they feel genuine love and they feel genuinely able to ask for service from mom.
May, your story of motherhood and your story of the roller derby is such an example of how to live our life. It is some of the most beautiful experiences we have is being of service to others, putting others first. And we have to give from our wholeness. We have to give from our joy, from our love. Because if we're giving from, if you give blood every single day, you're going to get anemic. It's just
Great
it
analogy.
doesn't work that way. You can't give always everything that you have. Give from your overflow. Now, I know for a fact that Maggie, these past 9 months, has given unconditional service. Holding a full-time job, 3 kids, a life, and in ministerial school, finishing up her academia, at the same time serving this ministry. Now, not once have I experienced Maggie not giving from her heart, giving from her place of, I know this is where I can give, just like when she was the captain for the roller derby. Now, that doesn't mean that it wasn't a tough challenge, because there's a lot of things to juggle. I'm in the same boat. I sign my emails with in loving service. From the moment I arrived here in New Braunfels, I took on a role I'd never done before. And the attitude that I've taken is, one, I'm not going to do this by myself. I'm not the one with all the answers, and it's not about me. But together, we will create something none of us had ever dreamed before. And we're right on the cusp of being able to do so much more, only because we've continued to work together. So you've seen how Maggie and I are working together. It's just a reflection of who you are, because we're all in this together. And isn't it beautiful to serve? And if we do it from that point of love, of joy, of compassion, it restores us as we're restoring the world. And that's a blessing. And that's loving service. Well, you know, I turn to the wisdom of this incredible woman, Martha Smock. She guided and led Daily Word for many, many years, and her wisdom here is poignant. All of us, no matter what our place in life, no matter what we do, whether we realize it or not, are serving God. You are serving God as you put yourself into life, as you think of others, and as you do all you can to make others aware of the good that is within them. This is what we do as teachers. This is what we do as supervisors. This is what we do as parents. This is what we do as spiritual beings, seeing the highest good for all. For when we operate from that God center, knowing we're only serving because we have the presence of all the gifts of God to serve, and then we can be graceful. No matter what is going on, we can be loving. And no matter what, we can lift others up, because not all of us are feeling the greatest at the same time. But the blessing of that is we're not all crazy on the same day. Each of us get to take the role. I'm crazy now, or I'm in pain. We're on the journey, but not all of us are in the pain at the same time. Mm-hmm. And that gives us an opportunity to give and an opportunity to receive. And that's loving service.
It is. I love what you said about teachers and supervisors. Unity co-founder Myrtle Fillmore developed her curriculum and the youth curriculum, but it's really all of our teaching curriculum. It's the living curriculum. And her philosophy wasn't to pour into somebody. It was to recognize what was inherently there and to help them realize it and extrapolate that wisdom. And when you see that, I knew this was in me, you gain confidence. And through that confidence and awareness, you're put back a little piece of what may have been disconnected, the contribution of wholeness. I think that is just perfect here. And thank God for those people that show up on the days where they don't feel great. You know, we all do get a turn, and it is a rotation. And I know as a mother, as just a person, that sometimes you have to show up to work anyway. You show up and you're tired, or you don't feel great physically, or there's something going on in your personal life that makes you wish you could be anywhere but there. And I think we're we're really wanting to honor not only our servicemen and women, but the servicemen and women who have stepped into the front line of COVID-19. You can bet that they're stressed. You can bet that they're worried. You can bet that they're exhausted. But they have jobs that only they can do on this planet. And they are doing it open-hearted through a divine calling, showing up tired to take care of us. And that's because each and every one of us is worthy of God's love in whatever form that shows up. Through a smile in the grocery store line, or someone holding your hand in the hospital, through one of those frontline COVID workers right now. And I think we wanted to take a time for appreciation and honor those medical staff, those first responders that are seeing us through bravely in service through this pandemic crisis.
And so we have this video using Ron Bretsky's Honoring What You Gave. And this video is to our heroes, these people who are on the front line serving in medical, all the services. And we wanted to use this video as our means of going into meditation. So allow yourself to take in, listen to this music, and let it prepare for our time in meditation. And here's Honoring What You Gave.
Quiet call to sacrifice, to stand for what you feel is right. Sometimes this world can be a bitter place, so you gave without the want of your own gain. You serve to make a better day. Now we honor what you gave. You serve to make a better day. Now we honor what you gave. Now we honor what you gave. Now we honor what you gave. In a world of dark and light, some are called to serve and fight, and in the midst of pain and loss, you can find yourself torn and tossed. You serve to make a better day. Now we honor what you gave. You serve to make a better day. Now we honor what you gave. You serve to make a better day. Now we honor what you gave. Serve to make a better day. Now we honor what you
that we honor what you gave. We honor the incredible gift that God gives us in each and every breath. We honor what we give. And therein lies our truth, our being. And let's take this for this Memorial Day weekend, for this Sunday celebration service that's focusing on loving service in all that we are. And if our heart is a little more open, if our eyes are a little clearer to be able to see, if our ears are a little more open to listening to the truth, then we've received exactly what we came here for. And this is much to be grateful for. So let's bring our attention back into wherever we are by wiggling our hands or wiggling our feet, rolling our shoulders, and opening our eyes. And from this, let's take into our heart this affirmation that goes with this service today. I express my love for God and all people in joyous service. And so we are blessed. And so it is.
Step out on the water, release your faith. Every step is stronger. Step out on the water.